Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we are going back to Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I've been waiting a stupid long time to make this video, and I just feel like it's the right time. Battlefront Classic Collection just dropped, Star Wars is on the noggin, and I'm just thinking about the game that really followed up KOTOR in a beautiful way, for me personally. The following video is sponsored by Aura. Sick of data brokers? Me too. They're selling your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. That means your full name, email, home address, all this information is just out there for them to use against you. And that's why I've been using Aura to show me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submitting opt-out requests. Through signing up with Aura, they've cleaned out the dozens of data brokers that were selling my information, but also protecting me from hackers who could use this information to help them access social accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It does so much more than protect me. It's also family, friends, like they're all getting in on Aura. And it comes with other bonus features, antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download tons of different apps. It's a super easy setup and you get everything at one affordable price. So yeah, sure, you may have a tool or two that I've mentioned, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. So I value peace of mind, I value privacy, and I imagine you do too. So you can go to aura.com/retrorebound to start your 2-week free trial, also linked in the description down below. You see, after playing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I replayed that 1,000,001 times. That's where I became a real Star Wars junkie. Battlefront was in my life. I'm just playing Star Wars games constantly. But in between all those, I'm buying like these THQ spin-offs like Battle for Volcano Island, and I'm hating my life slowly over time. It was then that after another disappointing purchase, my dad shows me a website and a storefront that we talk a lot about here on Retro Rebound. That's right, GameStop. And he shows me how, hey, they have used games. You can buy them if you don't like them. You can return them. We can take some of the old junk that you don't like and trade it in there. And as a kid, coming from a family where we didn't have much cash to spend, but we had a library that had built up over time, I have to always say GameStop will have my respect and admiration for that alone. For people like me, they were able to provide games to us because we would trade in the stuff we didn't want anymore. You do it on the right day where you get like 2 for $20 or 3 for extra $30 of trade credit and so on. And you're balling out now, especially back then when I was so late to games that everything I wanted to play was so cheap. It allowed me to experience so much. So my first ever trip to GameStop, I traded in a bunch of games. I got $100 or so of trade credit, which to me as a kid, I'm rich, man. I can buy anything in this store, anything. And I remember like looking at some of the more expensive stuff, and my dad wisely told me, why don't you buy more quantity focused, try a bunch out. I remember walking out of GameStop with almost 20 games, one of them being a copy right there directly behind me, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. So there I am. Oh my God, a Saturday to remember, right? It was always a privilege in my house if you could take your console out into the living room and play it on what we called the big TV, right? And even better, my dad treats me to pizza. So I got pizza, I'm playing on the big TV, and I got a stack of games a mile high. I remember trying out first Final Fantasy 12. Funny enough, one of my favorite Final Fantasies nowadays, but wasn't so crazy about it back then. And I move on because I couldn't resist any longer to Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. This game I was excited about because I had played KOTOR 1,000,000 times. I wasn't sick of it, but there's no denying that I wanted something new in my life in Star Wars. And so naturally when I saw that Star Wars logo, that's all she wrote. Also because my dad showed me for the first time ever video game reviews, and this was a highly touted one. So how did it deliver? Oh, by God, did it ever. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. I know it was a long warm up there, but there's such a story attached to this one. I had to deliver it. If you're new here, you're into nostalgic or retrospective content, consider subscribing. Let's begin at the top with the developer, Raven Software. Yes, Raven. So stupidly underrated in the video games industry they are. They not only made this game, but they made X-Men Legends, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, they made Singularity, they made one of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns in Black Ops Cold War, like everything they do. They just have such, to me, a premium output. And no one really talks about them like they're one of the GOATs, but they are, and this is yet another example of that. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy has some of the best lightsaber combat you can still find in a Star Wars game to this day. Like what they did is on a whole other level. The attention to detail is unreal. Have you ever noticed in Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, right there in the opening level, when it's raining, listen closely and you'll hear a little pss, pss, pss. that's the rain hitting your lightsaber, and you'll see little puffs of smoke coming off of it. That level of detail is so disgustingly good. It made me want to vomit all my pizza out that Saturday evening. So yeah, I just want to put some respect on Raven before we go any further here. But if anything you see with their name attached to it is probably worth playing, truthfully. I'm also pretty sure they did the Wolverine game where you could put a dude's head through a helicopter. So like, come on, sells itself, right? Now I mentioned coming off of Knights of the Old Republic, right? Favorite game of all time, but more importantly, as I defined it as a kid, this is what I call the quote, choose your own adventure video game. By that I mean, it's an RPG, right? And so I was really partial to that experience because it gave me agency, it let me be myself. And so when you start up and you can customize your character, not just in appearance, but the race you can choose. And this opened up a whole new world to me in Star Wars. I was mostly familiar with what the prequel showed me, and of course, what KOTOR had showed me, which are two vastly different eras of Star Wars, although there are places they definitely overlap. But seeing that you could play as effectively what I would call as a kid the same race as Darth Maul was like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? Like, it was such a foreign concept to me, and I was so excited by that. So the character creator off the rip is fantastic. You get to choose the hilt for your lightsaber, and you can see it in clear detail, the color of your lightsaber. Eventually, as you progress in the game, 2 lightsabers, double-bladed lightsaber, like the customization options get sick. I'm pretty sure this is the game where you can wield a single lightsaber and then turn it into double-bladed. It's just, so forward-thinking on the customization, because before every mission, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, you have to kit yourself out, not just with your lightsaber, but you choose your force powers, you upgrade one before every mission. Sometimes you get multiple points to spend. I always personally, if you're looking for a little bit of advice, I personally always spend my points in something like force heal, so you can avoid searching for like those tubs that give you your health back or health pickups. It just saves you a little bit more time. And then I love the dark side powers, like force grip, just walking up and stabbing someone. Just, oh my God, it's so cool. But yeah, they give you all these powers. That would have been enough. No, this game's also like a first-person shooter. What? So you get to pull out guns. You can do the E11 blaster. You can use a sniper. Like, there's so many options here, and they're worth using. I remember there's this one train mission I was on, one of my favorite levels in the whole game, just because I think it's so epic that you're on this like breakneck speed train, fighting in the rain as a dark Jedi is attacking you. It's literally such fan service in a weird way, man. Like, as a Star Wars junkie, I just can't get enough of big moments like that. But I remember just taking out like the sniper there and just taking out enemies so I could thin the herd before I approached them. Just stuff like that. It adds so many layers. You pick the explosives you want to use. So yeah, just kitting out, customization and progression. Like, as you get deeper into the game, you start to jump higher, you start to attack with a little more fluidity, you get more moves, more combos, stronger force abilities. Like, it is the choose your own adventure video game, not just in how you kit out your character, but there's even different endings. Like, it's unreal to me that this is a game that people aren't demanding gets like remade, or a game that you just isn't celebrated as much as KOTOR. Like, I've seen a lot of these press websites put out some crazy lists. At least we can all agree that KOTOR is the GOAT in Star Wars gaming. But I've seen some crazy lists where like Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy's out of the top 10 constantly. I just don't get it. It's got everything. It's the complete package. Progression, awesome maps, awesome story, multiple endings, hilariously corny dialogue. I mean, you got the customization, the best lightsaber combat in the business. Like, what more do you want, man? But more than anything, this lightsaber combat would define something that people would want to demand all the way up until Star Wars Jedi Survivor finally gave us what we wanted: dismemberment. In Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, you can sear right through some of your opponents, particularly when they're a beast. But make no mistake, when you are clashing with another saber user and you catch him slipping and you come right up under the shoulder, and you get that slow motion 360 camera rotation and you see that arm pop off, oh my gosh, it is such a mature level of Star Wars that I wish we got more of. And that's why I love Jedi Survivor, because they finally answered the bell. You could see with the animation and how visceral they were in Jedi Fallen Order that they wanted to go there, and they finally got that permission, and it is beautiful. It doesn't have to be bloody, it doesn't have to be grotesque, but these sabers should be chopping off many a limbs, and I felt like Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, not even felt like, I mean, it is the first one to get that. Whew, I gotta take a breath because I'm like gonna pass out. I just love this game so much. Okay, so what's happening in the story? You're going to Luke Skywalker's own Jedi Academy. Yes, like the very one that's referenced in the sequel trilogy nonetheless. But you're heading there and your flight is ambushed, and so you have to fight your way to the academy. And eventually, as you're training from Padawan and rising up the ranks, you're going to be completing a number of missions. And I think someone defined this as fetch questy. You know, you get a little bit of a talking head brief on what your mission's going to be, and then you're off. Like one of the missions, for example, is you're playing as Jaden Core, by the way, that's your name. And as you await your partner, Kyle Katarn, he does not show up. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll go see what's going on here. And it ends up being a mission about defusing a bunch of bombs on this planet. Like, why are these all here? Why did Kyle Katarn not show up? Like, I don't know. But it gives you an opportunity to see all these planets and explore them in so many ways, because there's a real openness to mission approach. Like, there's no real one-trick way of doing it, which can sometimes work against the game. The prior entry to this was, I believe, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, which had the same first-person shooting, and you played as Kyle Katarn, but I think the level design there was a little archaic, kind of reminding me of what I recently played with Star Wars Dark Forces, which is another reason I wanted to pull this game out, because Dark Forces was a game that I really hadn't played before, so I actually bought it and played a decent amount of it, and I really like the whole kind of Star Wars Doom thing we got going on here. I can really get behind that, but the level design was kind of archaic, which immediately brought me to that game, which I don't think really exists as badly in Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. It's much more clear in where you need to go and what you need to do once you get there. To the point where, yes, as a kid, I beat it multiple times, so it can't be that tough, right? But yeah, you're gonna just go out on tons of missions to planets and places that you don't see frequently in Star Wars, and I just love that. I loved being able to see more of this world, even if it meant I had to see more of, like, you know, facial animations that kind of were wonky, flat, talking mouths and nothing else. I mean, look, okay, it's not great, but otherwise, I enjoyed the story. Of course, your rival in all of this is pretentious and annoying and goofy and clearly someone who's power hungry. So yeah, it's not like a narrative that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, but I think it does enough to get the job done, especially when you get to the end. You can make some pretty cool choices. I like that we didn't get like another Jedi Knight game after that. It kind of felt like the perfect conclusion, really. There is still one more big component we got to talk about with Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy that I haven't even covered yet. But first, let's take a look at a complete in-box copy of this game and then get into Star Wars movie battles. Okay, let's take a look at not just one, but two copies of Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. I want to start off with the modern one first, actually, because what we have here is a Jedi Knight collection from THQ and Aspire. It's Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, the one we're talking about today. Love the mixture of the cover arts here, by the way. But you'll see here on the bottom that it says Internet and PlayStation Plus required for online multiplayer. But that's not the only thing, is when you install these games, they actually download the client. It's not both of them running on a single disc. You actually need to download them to your dashboard. So if you're looking at something that's, I'd say, more preservationist, it's not going to be this version here, although it's the most modernly accessible one. So just keep that in mind when firing these up. However, we'll take a look at an original copy here. Of course, on the original Xbox, that was like my Star Wars machine growing up. We have Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. On the back of the box, it says, forge your weapon and follow the path of the Jedi. And I should say, or don't, because you can actually choose not to. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy is the latest installment in the highly acclaimed Jedi Knight series. Take on the role of a new student eager to learn the ways of the Force from Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Interact with famous Star Wars characters and many classic Star Wars locations as you face the ultimate choice: fight for good and freedom on the light side, or follow the path of power and evil on the dark side. Here on the bottom left, it talks about customize your character by defining both look and gender before entering the academy to learn the power and dangers of the Force. Construct your own lightsaber from handle to blade as you progress. Discover the power of wielding two lightsabers, or the ultimate double-bladed lightsaber made famous by Darth Maul. New vehicles, weapons, force powers, and Star Wars locations. It has unique level selection system allowing you to choose your own missions and adventures, and 6 multiplayer modes including team-based siege mode and 2-on-1 power duel. Fight in 23 player arenas in head-to-head split screen mode or via Xbox Live. So yeah, like, this had a robust multiplayer offering. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but just crazy. I never experienced any of the multiplayer for these games. I only knew this through PvE. Same thing with Battlefront. So we have not only Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy here. We'll go through this manual in a little bit, but we also have a free trial of Xbox Live cooling it in here. So check that out. What a whoops, dropped it. What a throwback that is, though. So you don't get to see that too often, the OG Xbox Live promos. And then we also have here on the inside the same marketing slip you've seen in the past across many of the complete box experiences here. You fill this out, you get registered to receive more information on future LucasArts games. So we'll go ahead and slide both those back into the copy. For now, let's take a look at this manual here for Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy here. And as you'll see, I love how the text is laid out. To me, very, I know it's going to sound stupid to say, but very Star Wars-y, because I'm forgetting the name of the font that Star Wars uses, but it leans into that heavily. Anyway, enough of me sounding like an idiot here. You get little screenshots like this: study the sum knowledge of all who have come before you. And you see like a little gameplay screenshot here. So I don't know, those things work for me. I wish this was illustrated because you could just see how goated it would be with like this character holding a lightsaber and all the different hilt selections you have, the mission selection here. This would have been an absolutely top-notch one. World and character interaction here. You can see you're with a Wookiee. Check that out. I mean, what a wonderful video game, truly. Like, just so many memories packed into it. Almost to the level of KOTOR, really. Just, again, being able to customize my own character, multiple endings, really went a long way with me. Lots of tech to the attacks here, just based on, like, what direction you're going in. Like, force pull, primary attack when enemy is relatively far away. You can do a force pull slash, twirling, crouch forward, primary attack. Like, it was a fighting game. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It was a literal fighting game. Double-bladed lightsaber attacks, backflip attack, twirl kick, split kick, spin kick. Like, these are all useful tech in certain encounters. Like, it really is incredible how much they packed into it. The acrobatic moves that you could do. Yes, you could flip off of walls as well, as they break down here. Lightsaber locking. There was, again, just a ton of little techniques and mechanics baked into the lightsaber combats. Why? It was the greatest. All the force powers that you can unlock. Force lightning, I mean, I love how they use this example here, because force lightning was just great against these big beasts or the vehicles you had to take down. Some of the weapons that you can get here. What was the sniper I was using? It was this one right here, the destructive electromagnetic pulse. This was the sniper I was using on that train mission. Really good stuff there. The multiplayer menu, setting all of that up, going to the back, all of the tips that they give you. Wisdom for single player, wisdom for multiplayer. Keep moving. I like how they just tell you to do that. And then here we have a final promotion with an illustrated screenshot. Check that out. And then some games available for Xbox, promoting KOTOR, naturally, the GOAT. Secret Weapons over Normandy. Never heard of that one. And Gladius is up here as well. We also have a little promotion for a hat and strategy guide. And that is the end of the manual. So a pretty chunky one there, going over a lot of different mechanics in the game. But that is a complete box copy of Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Okay, you want to talk about prominent Star Wars multiplayer gaming. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, absolutely. That's what the lightsaber combat did to this community. Like, you really have to aim and deflect, and there is a skill level to this. Doing flips around your enemy, it's insane, and all of it comes to a head in Star Wars movie battles. This is a online game that takes the combat from Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and it's heavily modded in the terms of playable characters, but each has their own moveset. Think of a Star Wars character. Just, you got one in the top of your head, they're playable. Anyone you think of, they're playable. It's crazy. But this is what movie battles is. So you can play as any Star Wars character using this combat system, and that's why so many people have flocked to it on its own. Let alone that you can have characters with blasters. Like, it's not just the third person saber combat. Like, any character in Star Wars is pretty much playable here in movie battles. It's absolutely incredible, and it's something my friends still play frequently to this day. But yeah, when it comes to Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, it's not just the birth of fantastic lightsaber combat that you can only get in single player format. It's a budding multiplayer community that's still thriving to this day. So yes, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy is just a wonderful game. A wonderful, wonderful game that I cannot simply recommend enough to you. So please, if you're interested, check it out. I would actually recommend playing it on the system behind me if you can. For no other reason than if you're a big game preservationist, I have the PS4 copy, as I showed you in the complete in box experience. But you have to download the game. And I don't get why they have it on the disc and I put it in and I gotta download the client and just launch up the digital launch. Like, I can't stand that. It makes me want to pull my hair out. So if you're all about preservation, here, PC's a good place. You could play it there. Just please try this one out. It's not gonna give you the most riveting campaign, but the combat, the kit, the progression, the planets, it's all good stuff, man. So with that, let me know your thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. With that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.